Have you ever been praised for being easy, low maintenance, mature, independent, and felt almost nothing when you heard it? Not warmth. Not relief. Just a blank, polite space where something tender should have landed. If you grew up emotionally neglected, adulthood can look exactly like that. You function, you perform, you handle life, and you still carry a quiet hunger you can't quite name. This isn't a story about bad parents. It's about absence, and what absence builds inside you. When comfort was inconsistent, curiosity about your feelings was missing, or emotion was met with dismissal, you start constructing inner parents out of what you received, an inner mother who doesn't come when you ache, an inner father who feels cold when you need permission to be human. People see a capable adult. Inside, an invisible child learned to vanish, while a functional adult keeps everything moving. You notice it when someone offers kindness and your body doesn't know where to put it. A friend says, "I'm proud of you," and you smile, you say thanks, and you immediately pivot to them. You make it lighter. You pay it back with a compliment, as if receiving creates a debt. You notice it when help arrives. A ride. A meal. A simple, "Do you want company?" Your mouth says no before you've even checked what you want. "I'm fine. Don't worry. I can handle it." And you can. That's the trap. Because the neglect wound often becomes a talent. Hyper-independence looks impressive. You do hard things alone. You solve problems quietly. You become the person who doesn't ask for much, who doesn't need, who doesn't take up space. You become strong. Sometimes strength is just the shape your hunger took so it wouldn't be seen. Then the day ends and the performance stops. You sit at the kitchen counter, and you feel a strange emptiness that isn't sadness exactly. More like a missing tone in the room. You scroll, you plan tomorrow, you keep your mind busy, and the hunger stays. The most confusing part is that you may not have one dramatic memory to blame. Nothing happened. That's why the emptiness can come with guilt. You compare. You minimize. You defend. And still your body carries the same message: something important didn't arrive. Absence is hard to grieve because it has no single scene. It's made of small non-moments, a tear that got ignored, a joy that wasn't mirrored, a fear that was met with logic instead of comfort, a question that was brushed aside, a silence that stayed too long. Over years, the psyche adapts. It splits. One part becomes the invisible child, the one who learned to make needs smaller so they wouldn't be refused. This child isn't dramatic. This child is quiet. This child learns to swallow disappointment quickly, to stay pleasant, to sense what others want and become it. The child doesn't stop needing. The child stops showing the need. Another part becomes the functional adult, the one who keeps moving, keeps achieving, keeps coping. This adult can be brilliant, reliable, responsible, competent. This adult can even care for everyone else with tenderness. But when tenderness is directed back toward you, something inside tightens, as if warmth is a substance you were never taught to digest. That's one of the signs: you can carry weight, but you struggle to receive softness. You may see it in relationships. Compliments don't land. Reassurance feels suspicious. A partner reaches for you emotionally and you freeze for a second, not because you don't want them, but because being held can feel like losing control. Giving is safer. Receiving feels like exposure. There's also a particular shame around needing. You want comfort, then you judge yourself for wanting it. You want to say, "I miss you," and your throat closes. You want to ask for care, and an inner voice says, "Don't be too much." That voice is an inner father in his cold form, not necessarily your literal father, but the internal authority you built. He turns your needs into a courtroom. He asks for proof. He calls longing weakness. He demands self-sufficiency as the price of dignity. And when that cold father is loud, the inner mother tends to be absent. The inner mother is the felt presence that says, "Come here. Rest." You don't have to earn tenderness. When she's missing, self-soothing becomes mechanical. You calm yourself with control, lists, plans, open tabs, just one more thing. You try to regulate emotion by managing life. It works, until it doesn't. Then the shadow of need arrives. This shadow isn't ugly because you're flawed. It gets distorted because it was starved. Ignored long enough, it starts acting out in ways you don't recognize as hunger, irritability when someone disappoints you, numbness when someone loves you, resentment when you feel taken for granted. It can overreact to small distance, a delayed reply, a neutral tone, because an older part of you still reads distance as danger. Sometimes the shadow tests people. You go quiet and watch who notices. You pretend you're fine and wait for someone to insist. You tell yourself you're independent while secretly aching for someone to make it safe to need. If you've ever felt embarrassed for wanting care, say it in the comments in your own words. One sentence is enough. Not for exposure. For recognition. The social lie around this wound is simple: if nothing terrible happened, you should be fine. But fine can be a mask the functional adult learned to wear. Fine can mean numb. Fine can mean you became so good at not asking that nobody knew you were hungry. So what changes is not your personality. What changes is the inner home. You begin, quietly, by noticing the moment you abandon yourself. The moment you say, "It doesn't matter," when it did. The moment you talk yourself out of a feeling before you've even felt it. The moment you receive kindness and rush to repay it so you don't have to sit in the vulnerability of receiving. Pause there. Just pause. Then try a different loyalty, to the invisible child who never stopped wanting warmth. You don't have to conjure a perfect inner mother. You start smaller. You offer presence. You let the hunger be named without shame. I wanted comfort. I wanted someone to notice. That sentence can feel almost shocking because it's so plain. And if grief rises, let it rise. Not as drama. As truth. From there, an inner mother begins to form as a tone, not a fantasy. A steady voice that doesn't withdraw. A warmth that doesn't demand you deserve it. Sometimes it sounds like, "That hurt." You're allowed to want more. And the inner father can change too. He doesn't have to stay cold. He can become a dignified protector of your needs instead of a judge of them. He can say, "Your feelings are real. Your boundaries are allowed." This is what internal nourishment looks like at first, small moments where warmth reaches you and you don't immediately flinch away. The next time someone compliments you, you don't deflect. You let it touch you for 2 seconds. You breathe. You stay. The next time someone offers help, you don't say yes automatically. You don't say no automatically. You check your body first. You choose. And at the end of an ordinary day, you do something simple that matches the new inner climate. You stand at the sink with a chipped mug. You rinse it slowly. Warm water runs over your hands. The faucet makes its steady sound, like a small, reliable presence in the room. You fill the mug. You watch the steam rise. No proving. Just warmth, finally allowed to exist.